The start of 2019 has been a little bit crazy, hasn't it? With CES in Vegas back in January, and February was all about MWC, the mobile conference in Barcelona, where 5G and foldable phones dominated all the headlines. But here in March, I wanted to try and get back to how tech can make a real difference. So today I invited Adam Medros onto the podcast, and he's the President and Chief Operating Officer at edX, which is essentially a non-profit online learning platform backed by MIT and Harvard. So I invited him on to my Daily Tech podcast. And Adam is passionate about the power of education and the impact it can have on today's evolving technology landscape. And he also has a fascinating backstory too. I mean, in a former life, he was the SVP of Global Product at TripAdvisor and was one of the key members of the team that helped the company scale to a global, publicly traded company with 400 million monthly users and over 1.5 billion in annual revenue. So naturally, I'm really looking forward to this one. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Cambridge, Massachusetts, so we can speak with Adam Medros, President and Chief Operating Officer at edX. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm Adam Medros. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and President here at edX. edX is a trusted platform for learning. So we were founded in 2012 by Harvard and MIT. We have 20 million people learning on the platform and 140 institutions building content on the platform.
Fantastic. And like you said there, edX is a huge non-profit online learning platform backed by MIT and Harvard as well. But for our international audience, can you just help maybe set the scene and tell them not only what edX is, but also what you guys do differently and what you stand for and what you guys believe in?
Yeah. You know, what's great is that edX is actually being used by millions of international learners as well as learners in Western countries, the United States. 77% of our users come from outside of the U.S. And what we are is a platform that enables the best educators in the world, high-quality education institutions, and some industry partners who are exceptional educators as well, like Microsoft, to put university-quality courses online and enable people to take a course, earn a micro-credential, such as our MicroMasters program certificate, or increasingly work their way all the way to a full online master's for an incredibly disruptive price of, oftentimes below $20,000.
And already this year, when we're browsing the tech headlines on the internet, it's CES in Vegas with consumer technology, and last month was the MWC, the mobile conference in Barcelona, about foldable phones. But what I love about what you guys are doing is you're making a real difference through education, and that is where the real value is. So, I mean, can you tell me a little bit more about the power of education and also the impact that it can have in today's evolving technology landscape?
Yeah, that's a big question. I have a number of thoughts about this, so I'll try to stagger them. I mean, one is technology topics and issues and trends come and go, but I can't think of a single year in my life where education has not been a topic. Right? It's a topic for everybody around the world. It's something that people deeply care about. It is the key to economic prosperity and economic opportunities. And so, deservedly, education should always be at the forefront of us thinking about how our society is going to be more just, more capable, more competitive, how our jobs are going to evolve. So I think, big picture, right? Education is a massive topic. What is absolutely truthful in the world of technology, and in the world of business or economics or global competition, is that the world is getting more global and it's getting more competitive. And the cycle time of industries, the cycle time of technology evolution, the cycle time of skills that workers need to build is getting faster and faster. And so I think for the first time, really, in decades, decades, the reality is that our traditional education system simply can't keep up with the needs of a global workforce and the needs of a technology-driven workforce. And so I think that means a couple things. It means, one, we need to like look at education the same way that we have looked at fundamental technologies and ask, what can we change? How can we transform education and keep all the wonderful parts, right? We have incredible educators across the globe in our universities, people who care deeply about teaching as a craft, people who care deeply about research driving new ideas, and people who care deeply about teaching people not just like hands-on skills, but how to think about the area they're going to work in, how to think about the problems they're trying to solve. The real question is, how do we do that faster? How do we do that, more on demand? How do we do that just in time with the evolution of the problems that businesses are seeing? And so 10 years ago, 15 years ago, nobody talked about data scientists, right? And now go to any boardroom and you will absolutely hear a conversation across all industries about how they do not have enough data scientists. They do not have the pipeline and the capacity of knowledge workers and analytically driven, technology-capable workers that they need to compete. So the only way we're going to solve that is by building more of them and finding ways to build them more efficiently, more effectively, and faster.
Now, one of the problems I've talked a lot about on this podcast recently is the speed of these emerging technologies and how difficult it can be for educators to keep up with it. In some universities here in the UK, we've got kids studying at university, and by the time they leave, their skills are out of date when they're trying to fill these positions that are left empty at the moment, especially around AI, machine learning, blockchain, and developing decentralized apps, for example. So how challenging is that for you?
Yeah, I think that's challenging for everybody. Yeah. I look at it as an incredible opportunity, though, where we get to ask the question of, how are we going to solve that, right? And I personally, I don't believe, the death of the university is upon us, right? Like, I don't believe that traditional education is going to go away or is going to suddenly, go bankrupt. Yeah. But what I do believe is that we have to build an expectation in our economies and in our workers and in our students that they're going to have to learn continuously.